Water is rising. Water is rising all around us. The cost of living is going up. And if you're not increasing your pricing and your price point in 2022, you're taking a pay cut pretty much. Maybe not literally, because of the cost of living going up, we are taking a pay cut if we don't increase our prices.
Real estate doesn't matter anymore. You don't need shopfront on the high street. You don't need to be in any place, because your branding and your marketing is what pulls people in. There's never been more people on the planet. It's never been easier to market, and it's never been easier to specialize.
If we're not careful, we'll see it decline very quickly. What we're seeing in Australia and what we're seeing here is the game is changing. It's been a certain way up to a certain point, but we're moving into a new world. And it's never been easier to market ourselves. It's never been easier to brand ourselves. It's never been easier actually to get our message out there to people. But it's happening. Whether we like it or not, it's happening. And we have to think about that.
There's no amount of emotion that changes the facts. If we're not making enough money, those are the facts. Our emotions don't change that. If we've got loads of new clients coming in at $300, that's the facts. Whether somebody thinks that's right, wrong, worth it or not, it doesn't matter. The emotion doesn't change the facts, okay? And that's the art and the science side of pricing.
And that requires a really, really solid plan. Because if you plan for nothing, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it with 100% accuracy every single time. You'll end up with nothing. And the water's rising all around us, and we'll end up drowning, and that's just the reality.
Human beings in a mob, what's a mob to a king?
Thank you. Can you do that again?
Waving now.
That feels really nice. So, guys, welcome. It's going to be awesome to spend a little bit of time with you guys for the next, how long do we have now? 45 minutes? Let's just say 45 minutes. So that means we don't have time to fuck around, all right? I'm not going to tell you a big story about who we are and what we've done and all that kind of stuff. You can find all of that on YouTube if you want. We talk about it a lot on there already. But what we are going to do is we're going to do a quick little kind of breakdown and presentation. Once we can get this up and running, we're going to do a bit of screen share and run you through something that we've kind of been working on for a very long time. We've been in the hair space now for me 10 years, Lee 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So combined like 30 years of experience, and with that we've come up with a bit of a model as to like how this all works. And the model doesn't just apply to the barbershop world, it applies to anything, any business, any life. So a question that I have for you before we start: who here in the room owns a business? You want to put your hand up? Who doesn't? So see, that's where I'd question yourself immediately. Every single person in this room has a business, and that business is your life, right? So your life is your business. It's important that you never submit to the employee mindset, right? Like I think you know where we'll go with that. We won't go into too much of a rabbit hole, because like I said, we don't have time to fuck around, right? But that could go very rabbit holey. But your life is your business, and it's really important that we look after our business, or mind our own business, if one may say. So we'll run you through the model, and kind of how the session is going to look from a technical aspect is we'll speak to you right now about like the what and the why, and then we're going to open up for a Q&A. So then we'll start to speak about the how and the now. And how the Q&A will actually work is we'll just actually ask the room, like, what do you guys need most help with right now? We'll write a bunch of shit on the whiteboard thing, and then we'll try and cover everyone's stuff, because 5 people might have a question on content or something else, and we can just cover it in one question. Does that make sense? All ready to go? Awesome. So the model, let's see if this loads up for some reason. The picture's not loading. But we have a lovely picture here that's not loading on the screen. The reason we changed the session from talking all about the model to a Q&A style session is because we recently wrote a book, and all of you guys are going to get the book, so there'll be a QR code at the end. You can download the book, you can read all about the model and all about how it applies to you and your business and your life afterwards. But the most use we can get out of the time today is to actually get talking to you guys. And I'm glad that it's in this kind of a setting. It's a bit more intimate. It's not, let's get up on a stage and like speak to you from a stage. It's not cool. So yeah, Lee, do you want to have to say anything before I'll try and sort this out?
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on the book. So like Owen said, we use a model to basically break down business, and it pretty much works for most businesses. And you'll hear us like alluding to different parts of it, but if you're curious, take that away with you. Make sure you're writing stuff down, and then when you get home, study the book, and it'll tell you about how to use that part of the model and how it works in your business. So yeah, if you have questions, make sure you fire them out, because like Owen said, we're going to whiteboard this stuff and brainstorm everything. So if there's anything burning, by the way guys, this is the last time we're going to be standing in front of a barber audience. We've done this for a long time now, and our business is growing, it's moving, it's transcending, so we're broadening our scope to bigger businesses and all businesses now, helping them in the digital first world.
It's fine.
Anyway, this is the last time we're doing this in this kind of setting. So really milk this one. And that was our thing. We had a little chat this morning about what's this going to be about, what's the energy, what's the vibe. We're like, let's just leave it all on the table. Leave it all on the table. You guys really milked this session. It's not a good use of our time just to ask us about haircuts and what's your story, and that's not a good use of our time. Let's go deep, let's go tactical, and let's actually solve some real-time problems for you guys and your businesses. You're gonna see tons of haircuts this weekend, but look, that's not going to move the needle when it comes to growing your business, okay? Another nice fade, another nice line, another nice graduation, it's not going to change anything. Because if we don't get the business tactics right and what goes on between the 6 inches between our ears, nothing's going to change, okay? And we're seeing that. We're moving closer to that point. So yeah, really squeeze the juice out of this session.
Yeah. Has anyone ever heard of Tony Robbins before? Yeah? Yeah. Well, Tony Robbins has a quote, and he says, business is 80% psychology and 20% tactics. And it's all about how you think about this stuff. It's not about like what you do, what technique you do, what strategy you use, what tactics you're using. It's all about how you think about it. So the problem is the way we see the problem, oftentimes. So while Lee gets set up, I'll run through the model real quick. It's not quite coming across, but that's fine, right? So the model is 3 like overlapping circles. I'm going to try my best to draw some 3 overlapping circles. It's kind of like that, but basically within them, we speak about a couple of things. So the goal really for us in the model is to live an unlimited life, right? So the business is called Unlimited because the goal is to live an unlimited life. Now, to do that, we need to do 3 things, and we've identified this over 10 years of being in this space. The 3 things are, we need to get money. Money is important. We need to make impact with the work that we do, and then we need to feel a sense or a feeling of freedom. And if we don't do that, if we don't have that feeling, it's not going to work out, right? So without these 3 things, if you have 1 or if you have 2, we don't believe that you can live an unlimited life. You need all 3, right? So that's the way we like to look at it and have gone deep into thought on this. Now, in order to do those things and have money, impact, and freedom, from the business standpoint, what we need to do is have a fantastic like delivery system, which is the business that we have, the model, our haircuts, the products and programs that we have, all of that kind of stuff. That's the delivery system. We need to attract clients into the business and team, and where the real kind of money and difference is made is in the retention and the impact, really, because when you attract and retain clients, you make money. When you retain and deliver a fantastic service, you make impact. And when you can attract people and deliver a fantastic product and service for them, you'll have the freedom that you want in life, right? So it kind of works as a Venn diagram. You can't see it now for some reason, but if you can see this, that's kind of how it works. The circles overlap, and then we have all of the different tactical stuff that we can do on the outside. Now, where does this kind of fit into like the state of the union, right? The matrix, what we know barbering to be and what it has been up until now. Because I don't know if you heard the song when we came out, the Kanye West song, the Jay-Z song. Kanye is a bit of a controversial name to say at the moment, but we're controversial guys, so it's all good. No church in the world was the name of the song. And there is no church in the world. And today, we're actually entering into a space where the opportunity is different. The boots on the streets, the way things have been done up to now, it's different. It's going to be different as we move into the future, right? So we were in the agricultural age, and then there was a disruption, right? Like people went from horse and cart, and they started driving cars and tractors, and all of a sudden, the 300 people that were working on a field digging crops lost their jobs to a tractor. And that was a massive disruption back in the day. And then we went into the industrial age, which we're kind of still transitioning out of. But the opportunity these days is so big with the digital age, and that's what we're going to kind of speak to a little bit today, that it's impossible to ignore it. Because if we do, our businesses will fail, because somebody else will do it, and eventually we'll just not exist, right? So the digital age is something that we need to be aware of. It's been happening for a long time. I was reading a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Has anyone read that? By Stephen Covey. It's like a book from early 2000s, even the 90s, I think. And he was talking about the digital age back then. That's 25 years ago, you know, plus maybe 30 years ago. So this isn't a new thing. It's just, it's on steroids now with things like ChatGPT and Instagram and all of the other devices and apps that we use, right? So we're investing heavily into that at the moment, and that's where we see things having been, where things are currently at, and where things are actually going in the future. So yeah, anything to say on that, Lee?
Yeah, I've been around long enough. Oh, my mic's working, this is great. Nice. Sorry, that was very abrupt. Yeah, so I've been around long enough now in the hair industry to see these changes happen. And there's a great quote that I love. It says, "Chaos precedes great change." So anytime there's a lot of chaos in the world, I think it's exciting because we're about to see great change. And I've seen it happen. This is about the 3rd or 4th time now in my career that I've seen great change happen. And the big thing that happens, like Owen says, if you resist the change, you will get left behind, and I've seen it. When I was a hairdresser originally. When I first started that, it was, you know, Posh Spice's bob. You know, that was the thing that was in, and I learned that. And then all of a sudden the balayage came in, and everybody went balayage and waves, and then the bob haircutters got left behind. They were like, no, it's about precision haircuts. Then it changed. And then I've seen it happen in the barbering world as well. We've gone from 3 back and sides to all of a sudden white dudes getting fades. When the fuck did that happen? You know? But the 3 back and sides dudes were like, no, it's traditional, we have to stay this way. And the new dudes were like, no, we do fades on white dudes now. And then so that's what changed, and all the other guys got left behind and the new dudes took off. And it's happening now. You will see that everywhere this weekend in this expo. There's chaos right now. Everybody's confused. Nobody knows what to do. There's a bunch of people that don't like these people because they're doing social media and they're not very good at cutting hair. But I've been doing it for 55,000 years and I'm really good and I don't want to do social media. There's chaos right now. But if you resist the change, you get left behind. So that's why we're here, to get you ready for the change. And what, like, the term that I use is like a digital first future. So what we're going to see in the barbering world, we have like what I call an analog fulfillment. Okay, so we fulfill our service in person. We stand on boots on the streets and we fulfill analog. And historically, that's how we got our clients as well. But now we have this thing called the internet, and that's where we bring in the digital acquisition of clients. And that's going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And we expand time horizons from like 3 to 5 to 10 years. In the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see a lot of barbershops die. And I know it's morbid and I know it's dark, but a lot of barbershops are going to go to the ground. Why? Because they're resisting the change. They're not going to keep up with digital first future, deploying a lot of resources and time into building a brand, and that's going to get them left behind because the digital acquisition is going to be so important. You think about, let's take 13-year-olds right now, 13-year-old lads, right? In 5 years' time, they're going to be 18, prime for the barbering mode. You think they're going to give a shit about stuff that's going on today? Nope. Digital first future, that's where it's going to go, and that's what we've got to keep up with, and that's what we're really going to think about and talk about today. So that's where just my little piece on that is, if we resist the change right now, because trust me, I've seen it and it's sad when it happens, we're just going to get left behind. All right, so really lean into this, and if there's resistance, that's a good thing. That's something to think about when you get home, while you're reading the book on the model.
Yeah,
awesome.
Because this is the thing, right? The model works. It works. It's proven. We use it ourselves. We've used it with the people in our mentorship program and their businesses, and it works. You know, there's plenty of people in the room today that will tell you that it works. And there's not, we had a mastermind yesterday. We had a guy come who specializes in the numbers, and he was just showing us like the difference in a profit in a business when you just increase the prices by 5%. It is insane, right? So all the stuff we talk about when it comes to pricing and all that kind of stuff, that's like the kind of cosmetic thing. That's the kind of problem on the surface. But below the surface, there's deeper things, right? We can't get into it today. Maybe we will in the Q&A. But like, the reason that we are so loud about it, and the video even is a bit abrupt. I was watching it and I was thinking, Jesus Christ, we're saying some shit there, aren't we? Like, but at the end of the day, nobody else is going to. So everyone can pretend that it's great and everything's working out, but most of the barbers that we speak to, and we speak to hundreds, we've been all over the world in the last couple of years speaking to barbers, and we haven't met many happy ones, like truly in their heart, like happy in themselves, right? So that's why we're so focused on like the lifestyle first business. And again, the opportunity is so great. Like if you focus on brand, we've been speaking about brand on these types of stages for many, many years. When I started cutting hair in Fermoy, County Cork, 6,000, 7,000 people in that town, there's no way I thought it would get me like this far and I'd be doing cool things like this, or I'd have the business that I have today. But those opportunities don't arise unless you start taking the first steps. So there's a quote, it's like the path illuminates as you walk it. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out, you just post on social media, take your work, post it, and share more of you, right? We had this concept yesterday at the mastermind around building your business around you. Like personal brand is talked about a lot, right? But a lot of people leave the personal part out of it. It's like, yeah, people want to follow a story, right? Like we have plenty of our clients in the room, like Ruchi is an example of it. I was talking to the guys about this today. I'm intrigued for Ruchi's story. I'm following it. Like, and that's a real follower, right? Like there's followers on Instagram and this and that and blow up and go viral, but like, for what? What's the outcome at the end, right? What is it that we want? What kind of life do we want to live? That's the thing to reverse engineer from, rather than just running at every opportunity that there possibly is. So we're all into something. We all have interests. We're all interesting. It's just about digging out the interestingness out of us and sharing a bit more of that. So where things have been, State of the Union, it was a lot easier than what it is now. People would just walk in and you didn't have to be that good. Now where things are at, it's a bit saturated. There's a lot of good people. A lot of people can do hair pretty well. So where are things going? Into digital space, into personal brand, digital products, a different type of landscape. And just remain open-minded, right? There's a lot of people that will have a physical business. And like, who knows? Like when I started cutting hair, I was locked in. Like I was like, I'm just gonna cut people's hair forever. This is fucking great. And then I was put in environments where I was exposed to people. And we had a guy yesterday at the mastermind and he was saying, I was watching a webinar during the week and I watched the guy make $2 million in 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, that's very fucking common in the worlds that we hang around. It's a common thing. But it didn't take him 30 minutes, obviously, right? It could have taken him 10 years or 2 years or 3 years. But the power of these devices, like our phones and the iPads, and this is a very positive way to think about it. When you know what kind of life that you want to live, and you have your buckets lined up and you know your values, you know what you want and what you don't want, any one of those days that it does rain and you go viral, all of that money pours into the nice buckets. And you've set yourself up for a life that you can actually fulfill, rather than creating a character and just going with the trends. It's like, oh, I wonder what that guy on Instagram is doing who's going viral. Like, maybe I should just copy his video. But then you're copying his life too. And maybe you don't want his life. It's like you want your life. So you picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah? Cool. We could fucking just ramble, but I really do want to get some Q&A going in a minute. But the opportunity is the equivalent of the opportunity that some of our parents had 100 years ago. Depends how old we are here. But, you know, it's the property thing, right? Many, many years ago, there was a property opportunity. And a guy called Tom Nosk shared this email the other day, and it was great, because I've been thinking about this a lot. But the opportunity is different in the modern world. Opportunity for our parents was they could buy a property for a couple of grand, and now it's worth a couple of million. You know, now we can like reveal a personal brand or speak about ourselves now for free, and in a couple of years it's going to be worth a couple of million. And we're speaking from first-hand experience that is the truth, right? It happens. It's just give it long enough time, build something from the inside out rather than the outside in, and it's great. And don't worry about like where you're at on the path, right? Like, I'm not as far along as this person, or that person's got that amount of followers, or they're able to do haircuts like that, or you know, they have that type of business. It's like none of it matters. You know, there's people in the room who have kids, right? Like Josh, good example of it. We did some work together last year, or was it the year before? Last year. And I'm sure when you had kids, priorities change.
Yeah.
And you quieten the noise. It becomes a very narrow path rather than a broad path.
Yeah.
Very narrow path. Right, so let's expand it out a little bit, think a little bit further down the line. Is the thing that we're doing today going to get us the result that we want in 5 years, 10 years? Let's expand the time horizons a little bit. And it's possible for anyone. Like, you don't have to know all the graduation techniques. You know? It doesn't matter. People are more interested in you and your story. Okay? Anything to add to that, Lee?
Well, yeah, but we don't have time, so
Yeah.
let's go.
All right, so let's. We've got half an hour. That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys need help with? Like, what if there's something burning right now? Like, just shout some stuff out. We can write it all down, and then we'll cover a couple of topics. What do you need the most help with at the moment? Where's the biggest struggle?
Where do you start building your personal brand?
Where to start with personal brand? Cool.
I actually have a question. It's for you, Lee. You shared a video recently just about raising your prices and not to catch your clients off guard. So how do you comfortably start like planting the seed and to not catch them off guard?
Yeah, great. Not freaking your clients out of the price raise, that one? Okay, cool. Yeah, humans don't like surprises. I don't know if you worked that one out yet. We think we do, but we don't.
We won't go there yet.
No?
We'll
Okay.
get a few more bits first. We can tie it all in. Anything else? So price rises, like a strategy for a price rise without
Freaking your clients out.
Yeah, and fucking your business completely, because that can happen as well. You know what the worst thing that ever happened to barbering? I said don't go there, but here we are. You know what the worst?
No, hold it. No.
No, the worst thing. The worst thing that, in my opinion, that has ever happened to barbering is those price increase posts that people make. Fucking hate them. Just putting it out there. We'll get back to that. I just opened the loop. We'll close the loop.
Lesson one, don't do it.
Anything else?
Freedom, time. What is it more time?
Oh.
That's big. That's a big one. Freedom is time.
I wish I could make more time for everybody. I wish I could.
Anything else?
Organisation.
Organisation
Of
Just making sure that you've got balance with like working on technique as well as like doing more of this sort of stuff, and ensuring that you've also got that humility side of you when you cut hair. So just making sure you don't get too clustered, because that's kind of how my mind gets sometimes.
Okay. Anything else?
What about like personal time, just outside of the cutting industry, just you, like focusing on yourself?
Everything perfect? Your ego, how your ego plays into it.
Oh, interesting.
When it comes to building your personal brand and kind of letting go of what you're doing.
Yeah, cool.
Advice for new businesses that are just starting out.
New business advice, nice. Anything else?
Do you like to
Yeah.
on your list?
Lee, how often should I just be like stopping, taking a step back and like just looking at everything and sort of regathering?
How often should you be?
Yeah, like
Okay.
take a step back and
Zooming out, we'll call that.
yeah,
Okay.
zooming out, planning, reviewing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Like it.
Creating systems to optimize your business.
Systemize.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Finding the balance between, like, you say your business is yourself, but like you don't want to be working 9 to 8 every day. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. charge more money.
Yeah, I find myself in a position where I'm like either too scared to ask a question, I don't know the right questions to ask. So how do I guess, come up with better ideas or make that framework to find the right question?
Anyone who hasn't asked a question, does that, if we went down that road for the next half an hour, do you think you'd get some value out of it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Okay, cool. This isn't about us, by the way. It's about
Last
you.
call at the bar. One more. Anything else before we?
One more thing.
Well, to be honest, I'm really struggling about have like idea for like, you know, create content on social media. Sometimes, you know, like back to back during the day, I'm like, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I post?
ChatGPT. Cool. Authenticity, Indy said as well. Yeah, we'll get to that too. Yeah. Let's just write content down.
Yeah, content's going to be big.
Content and authenticity, and then let's just go from there. Okay. So yeah, Lee, pick one and go for it.
Should we just start at the top? Where to start with personal brand?
Yeah.
Everybody cool with that? Yeah. All right. So the words that, firstly, we're big on language, okay? We're big on words, big on language, what the words mean. Damo specifically said, where do you start when you're building your personal brand? Well, the word building is the wrong word to use. Because when we're building, we think that we have to create something different. And that's exhausting. One of the most dangerous things you can do in life is create a character of yourself in your life. Because then you've got to keep it up. And it can become exhausting. And that's where people get identity crisis. And what if the character gets more love than you do? Or what if the character doesn't get any love anymore? It gets loads of love and then it gets no love, and then people have a crisis, right? So you change the word from how do I build a personal brand to how do I reveal my personal brand? That's where we're going in the future. You have to reveal to the world who you actually are. And that plays into authenticity. Because we can compete on who's the best barber, who's the thing, who's got the cleanest lines, but look, what happens when everybody's the best? What happens when everybody's as good as each other? Because that's where it's going. That's what happened in the UK. UK barbers are killers now. All of them, a lot of them. And they're all stuck charging 20 quid for a haircut. Because no one's focused on revealing a personal brand. Okay, so what we need to do is give people something and someone to believe in. And that something and someone is you. Okay? And there's a line that one of our coaches used, which is, it's a life-changing quote moving into a digital-first future, is like, different is better than better. Okay? That's a hard one to take on, because a lot of people are like, what's the thing? What's the best thing? How can I be the one and better? No, you don't have to be the better. That's playing on a vertical that there can only really be one best person. You just have to be different. And the difference is always you. That's personal brand. So instead of thinking that you have to build something, you just reveal who you are. But the kicker here, and we spoke about this in the mastermind a lot yesterday, we did a lot of like personality work yesterday, is believing and trusting that people are going to buy from the real you. That's what's really going on. That's the real wound, why people think they need to create a character, is because they don't believe that people are going to buy from the real authentic you. So I won't go too deep into it, but really sit with that one. The faster you can be okay with who you are and trust and know that the world is going to buy from you, you're going to be absolutely fine. The faster you can start to reveal your personal brand, and the faster the roadblocks fall away, it gets really quiet, and you just drive forward with your brand.
So the personal brand thing is the opportunity, right? So we were talking about real estate a minute ago, being the opportunity in the past. The personal brand is the opportunity in the future. Because if, with personal brand, what happens, right? The reason that all of you guys are here today is because of social media and personal brand. It's the reason that you're in the room. It's the reason we have the business that we have. It's the reason that we have the life that we have. Because we've shared our story and we've been consistent with it. And you know, Gary Vee, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gary Vee, he's been an absolute godsend in my life. And when he first popped onto the scene, just so many people were like, he's so fucking annoying, like his voice is so annoying, I can't listen to him, right? Yeah, but you're missing the point, like, listen to what he's actually saying. And back in the day, he used to talk about this concept, and he probably still does, but he was really heavy in it about like document versus create. Because we're all out here trying to land the knockout punch, right? I don't know if anyone's into boxing, but Conor Ben last weekend was trying to land the knockout punch, the whole time. And what did Eubank Jr. keep doing? Just kept attrition, just kept fucking chipping away at him. And who won the fight? And it's not about winning, right? The real goal, and the reason we're all here, whether you like to think about it or not, the reason we're all here is so that we can make more money and live a better life. Because the money will allow us to live a better life. And you can also live a great life without money. I live in Bali, Indonesia, and there's a lot of people there. They're all millionaires, but you know, in rupiah. But they all, some of them live great lives. It's not about the money all the time, right? So we actually had an experience. I'll just tell you a little bit of a side story before I continue. But we had an experience at the Bali Hair Expo, very similar kind of setting, right? But in Bali, and a bit different, less money and a bit more like community driven. And we were sitting at a cafe beforehand and we were like, what kind of angle are we going to come at? Because usually when we go to these shows, we're speaking to a Western style audience, whereby most barbers, most hairdressers aren't charging enough for the services that they're charging. And for new businesses, speaking to new business advice, Gavin, who came to our mastermind yesterday, the profit analyst, I think he said something like, was it 50% or 80%? 50% of small businesses fail within year 1 to 5 in Australia, and it's down to factors like pricing and profit, because there's not enough profit, right? So the pricing is so important. But for us to go in there with our Western bias and tell the Balinese barbers that they need to charge more for their stuff. Have you ever heard the story of the Mexican fisherman? I'll send it in the email afterwards with the book, and you can read it, right? It's a great story. But anyway, we just went in and said, so who here who wants more money out of the work that they do, right? I think most people will put their hand up in the room here today, like, and if you don't, great, but like, almost nobody put their hand up in Bali, and then we were like, who here is happy with the money that they make? And like nearly the whole room put their hand up. It's like, well, there's our presentation gone, right? But they all put their hand up, and we were like, great. Who are we to tell you that that's right or wrong? Like, there is no right or wrong. It's like, are you happy? They have a different culture, right? So they live in community. But the beauty of being there and witnessing that from a standpoint of someone who does live in the Western world is like, it's not all about that, but it is important. It's something that we need to address, right? If we can all get more money for what we do, and it doesn't mean like pulling the wool over people's eyes or like robbing people. I think there's a narrative in barbering where it's like, if I charge more money for a haircut, I'm taking it from the poor. And it's like, not really. You know, we live in Australia, look around, like everyone's got money. People are out buying cocaine. I think you can charge them $10 more for a haircut. Like, I don't think it's a big deal, right? But that $10 over the course of a year could be the difference between you keeping your business and losing your business. So there's some new business advice, is make sure that you're charging properly for what you do. But the personal brand thing, back to there. Gary Vee had this document versus create kind of formula. And in 2011, I was a cyclist at the time. I was trying to become a professional cyclist, and I did it, and I went and I did that thing. And back then, I wrote like 54 blog posts, probably about 2 people reading them. My mother and my dad didn't even read them, you know. So I was the other person. So it was me and my mother reading it. But that was like my trench hours, right? Like we've all had times in our lives where we struggled with hair. I don't know about you guys, but when I first picked up clippers and scissors, I was like, what the fuck do you do with this? And then over time, it becomes easier, and then you get to a point where it's automatic and you don't think about it at all. The same thing happens when it comes to what we do here, with business, with life. And the important thing to think about is that we are doing it at the end of the day to make money, so that, and this is the important part of that statement, is so that we can live a better life. And not just for us, but for our families and for our clients and for everybody. Like, so we can make a greater and deeper impact in the world. So the personal brand thing is the opportunity, because people buy from people, they don't buy your stuff, right? Like, I wasn't the best barber in the barber shops that I was in, but I was the busiest barber, always, because people were buying from me. And every time someone would sit in my chair, we found out yesterday a bit more about the deeper reason behind why I am the way that I am. But every time someone sit in my chair, I would be like, I'm gonna fucking make this person like me. Like, so I was doing shit haircuts, like really bad ones at the start. And my clients were loving it. They were thinking, this is the best haircut ever. So it's all about the transfer of belief, right? And like helping people actually feel better about themselves rather than just giving them a product. Because they'll come back to you. The retention side of it will be because of who you are. So if you don't share who you truly are, personal brand, personal being the more important word in personal brand, then you're kind of setting yourself up for like a show. Like every day you have to go in and like put on a fucking show for people. Whereas if you just are the way you are all the time, unapologetically, you might be a grumpy person. That's all right. The grumpy clients will find you, and you can all be grumpy together. And that's okay. We need grumpy people, we need happy people, we need energetic people. Not every shoe is for every foot, you know? So that's something on personal brand. Price rises. Should we talk about price rises? Any more questions on personal brand off the back of that?
I'm just going to add one thing before we get into price rising. This will lead really nicely into it. Sorry if anyone gets offended by this, but the faster you can not identify as a barber, the faster you're going to succeed. You're not barbers. You're humans that do barber stuff. Yeah. So, but people say, and I know, I can already hear it, but I'm passionate about it. Yeah, I know. But what does passion mean? Why do people say they're passionate about it? Passion, because it makes me happy. Okay, if it makes you happy, that means you have to barber 24 hours a day to be happy. You can't. You don't barber all the time. So to just do it because you're, like to say, I'm a barber because I'm passionate about it, doesn't really make sense, because you don't do it all the time. You're a human first, you're a person. You are you that does barber stuff. And I think that's just a really good frame to move forward. That's the big change. That's what personal brand really is. Because remember what Owen said, people don't buy what you do, they buy who it comes from.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that's going to be the big switch in the next 3 to 5 years. It's like the quicker you can like kind of detach a bit from that. You can still say like I do that stuff, but that's not who you are. You're not a barber at your core. You're human, and that's the common denominator between everybody in this whole expo thing this weekend. We're all humans. And the faster you can reveal to people that you're a human, the more likely they're going to play into your personal brand.
And that gives you flexibility to do other things, so you don't feel trapped in the box of barbering, for example, right? So like when I was doing all those blog posts back in 2011, I was a cyclist then. But I'm sure because I was still active in revealing my personal brand throughout all those years, now that I'm doing what I'm doing today, people will just give me a shot because they're familiar with me. And it's a familiarity game, right? Someone said it recently, it's like watching a TV show. And the more you can kind of like just bake in things of your life and it's actually real, and then once in a while you create an offer, a product, a program, a digital product, a product being a haircut. Once in a while, what happens in TV shows? An advert pops up. You say, oh, you can come and see me and you can pay whatever for a haircut. It's great. But that's the opportunity that we have. It's free right now. Why would we not use it? It's free for the most part. Unless you have to buy a phone. But that's pretty much it. But the inside out thinking, really, really important. Thinking about it from the inside out. Like, am I actually putting who I am out to the world? Or is this exhausting? Because most of the time when people burn out, it's from those types of reasons. It's not from working hard. It's from misaligned work. And we have an opportunity now, like, back where I'm from, in Fermoy, it's like there's not hundreds of thousands of men walking around. You know, you kind of just get what you're given, like, and eat your dinner and shut up, like, you know. You're lactose intolerant, you still drink milk in Ireland, you know. It's one of those things.
What's wrong here?
No, I fucking man up, you know. Stomach issues. Fuck.
Should we talk about price?
Yes, price rises.
So the question was, how do you raise your prices without freaking your clients out and burning your business to the ground? Best question ever. So humans don't like surprises. And I was trying to think of a cool analogy, like, you know, I could be cool today. So I'm getting old now and I'm not that cool anymore. But we're in Queensland, right? Storms happen a lot here, cyclones, things like that, right? The news tells you about it a couple of weeks before it's going to happen, yeah? So we can prepare. And we all go, fuck, cyclone's coming, what are we going to do? let's raid Woolworths, let's get all the supplies, let's do, that's what we do, right? But when the day comes, we're ready. And it's not, we don't wake up one day and go, holy shit, the roof's coming off, like we've got a cyclone. That would be an abrupt surprise, and we would absolutely hate it, and we think the world's ending. Okay, it's the same with price rising. It's just psychology. Humans just don't like surprises. We think we do, but when you come home and you dog shit on your pillow, it's not very nice. It's just not nice. That's a surprise, and we don't like that stuff. So that's how we think about price rising. Most barbers' approach is they go into pain until they're razor thin on their margins, and they go, fuck, I've got no choice, and it's a reactive thing, and they put a post out on Instagram and go, prices are going up tomorrow, like it or lump it, deal with it, see you in the chair, here's the booking link, see you then. And it's like, is that a safe, because we're talking about buyer safety, we talk about buyer safety a lot in our program, how can you make it the safest, most easiest way for that person to trust you and buy from you? So, what's the fix? What's the cure? You have to let people know in advance. And that also isn't on Instagram. Oh, do you want to
so
give them a little piece about that?
Like I was talking earlier about like the loop that I opened. Remember that back then? Like all the way.
Let's close the loop.
Back there? Yeah, so when I opened that loop, it's like I don't like that because once upon a time it might have worked, but I just think these days it's so impersonal and insensitive. And most of the time when people do it, observe, right? When a barber puts up price rise, who's commenting on it? Not their clients.
Barbers.
Not their clients saying, oh, that's awesome, man, like, can't wait to come and give you more money. Like, it's almost like you're flexing on these people who provide you a living. It's just not the best way to do it. A better way to do it, in our experience, and this works, again, Ruchi just put his prices up by $20, no friction, does less work, makes
gained
more
clients.
money, got more of this back, so he can work on this. It's great. But what you do is you create a list. This is a bit of coaching stuff that we would do in the mentorship program. You create a list of your 50 favorite people that come and sit in your chair. And if you're raising your prices, you message them individually with a bit of personal rapport. You put a bit of effort into it, and you say, hey mate, hope you had an awesome day at the races last week. It was nice to see you in the chair. Just so you know, on X date, I'm going to be adjusting like the service list a little bit so that I can do X, right? And you don't have to overly explain it. And you say, can't wait to see you in the chair, see you soon, kind of thing. You handle any objections in advance rather than getting to the till and someone being like, oh, the fucking price has gone up, like, what's that about? And then we can take that on when that happens, and it can actually ruin your day. It could spike you for the day, like it throws you off, and then you might have one or two people that will say something, but oftentimes people are just saying something just to question if it's an actual like thought out decision, or you just want to do it to like make more money. But for the most part, people aren't doing it just to make more money, they're doing it so that their business can survive. And that's the big difference. You kind of have to do it. Like, it's not a nice to do thing anymore. It's a need to do if you want to continue progressing. So if the prices aren't going up by 10% per year minimum, you're losing money. Like, you're getting your pay cut. And it's not about you, and it's not about them. Like, again, back to the kids thing, it's about putting food in your kids' mouths, right? And you look at that number over the course of a year versus today, the $5 that you're asking that client for, the life that you get to live in a year from now with you and your family, versus the uncomfortable conversation that might happen. Most of the time it doesn't. And for the people who do say something, well, maybe they shouldn't be on that list of 50 people, right? Because if you have 50 consistent people coming back to you all the time, that's more than enough. And then you leave a bit of flexibility for some more people to come in. 50 is just a number, right? It could be 60, it could be 70, it could be 80. But you get to choose these days. You get to curate. We're not in Fermoy. I'm not in Ireland where there's like a limited number of people in my hometown. And even then, you still have the choice.
Yeah. And most people do the Instagram posting, price rise, whatever, because they don't have a system. And once you've got a system, you can raise your prices every year for the rest of your life, and it's fine. It's stress-free. So in our experience, it's stressful for the barber, and it's stressful for the person, the customer as well. So if there's that much stress, how can we alleviate that? Because most barbers don't raise their prices, or if they do, they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with all the people in the chair. Oh, what's Dave gonna say? What's Bob gonna say? Da, 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 da. But when you do it in advance, you handle those objections early. And everything's weird until it's normal, right? All change is a bit weird until it just becomes normal. Everything becomes normal. I used to charge $200 for a haircut. I didn't when I started. I charged like 10. And everything was weird until it became normal. Like, what's the average price for a haircut here in Queensland? $65, $70? That was weird. You couldn't have done that 15 years ago. But it's all weird until it's not, right? And if we can make that process nice and smooth for the barber and the consumer, we never have a problem again. It's psychology. It's not about the number, it's about the surprise. That's what it is. That's why people freak out. Because I'll give you a framework. First, you've got to believe it's real, okay? You want to charge $2,000 for a haircut? You know someone that does it? Google the highest haircut price in the world. There's a guy in New York who charges $2,500 for a haircut, right? So it's real. I know it can be done. Next, I have to believe, you have to believe it's real, and then you have to believe that you can do it. That's the hard one. Because a lot of people don't trust themselves, right? But I believe I could do that, okay? And then you just got to have the balls to go do it. Sorry for the girls in the room, but the guys. Courage. You've got to have the courage to do it, all right? And that requires a plan and a process and a model that we use. That's all it is. It's psychology. The price is irrelevant, whether it's, and one thing I'll leave you with on price is don't operate and move towards minimums, aim for maximums. Okay, so most people come to us and say, I think Ruchi did this. How do you think about the $10 price rise? And we're like, double it, it's 20. Aim for maximums because it's not about the number, it's about the psychology. And we're playing in a world where it's like $20 price increase on a haircut isn't taking the piss. If I said, oh, my haircut's at 50 and then I'm like, now they're 2,000, that's taking the piss. It takes a time, it takes a process. But I believe that I could get there and do that. So that's a great framework. It's not about the number, it's about the surprise. It's human psychology.
And it's the same buying decision. Like, you know, none of us look at our bank accounts in single dollars. Like, you kind of round up or round down. So it's like all the odd numbers, just even them out, it makes it easier for your clients. Like, even take the 5s out, just go up in 10s. Like, you know, the $38 haircut, it's like, for me, it's a bit like, fucking hell, it's a bit annoying. Like, why can't it just be 40? You know? And it's like, oh, I want to hide the tip in there. It's like, no, what about just charge 40 and they give you a tip anyway? Like,
because that's what happens, doesn't it, Rich?
Yeah. So anyway, that's price. We have 4 minutes. What else do we need? Like, what else out of this do you
the
really
big one?
want?
What would be the most helpful?
By the way, we're going to be around for a few hours afterwards, so you can chat to all of you guys.
Content. Yeah, content.
Content.
Yeah, content, cool.
All right. What about content?
What do you want to know?
Just, I would say, different ideas. Because for me, I'm just posting the same thing over and over. It's just different songs, different angles, just the same old thing.
Is it? First question: is it working?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you got promoted from junior barber to senior barber like a week ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, after just a year.
Yeah.
So
all right. Let's yeah.
Mine would be like attracting new clientele or the right clientele, because I'm moving from my original barbershop where I was busy to now into the inner city of Melbourne, where it's not as much foot traffic walking past, but it's more advertising yourself out there, bringing the clientele into you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking more for attracting clientele.
Cool. Yeah.
How do you be like authentic and original? Because these days on Instagram, it kind of feels like everything's already been done.
Yeah. Cool.
Otherwise.
All right. Let's bind the 3 things together in 3 minutes. Number 1, it's never been as easy to stand out because most of the people are doing the same shit. How do you stand out? You bring a bit more of you into it. And there's plenty of people in the room that are in our program. Thor is one of them. He puts stuff out that is a little bit different and it attracts the exact type of client that he wants to sit in his chair. Not just anyone. Like, and there's a point in our career where we need to get anyone because we need bills to pay, you know? Like money, food to eat. Like we need it. But we're playing in the digital landscape. We have over a long enough time horizon, there's a choice that can be made. So we use a thing called the content ecosystem, and we sell a different type of thing with the mentorship, with coaching, with education. It's a little bit different, but the psychology is the same. And for what we do, we need to basically get people to consume as much content as possible to get to trust us, to know us, to like us, to trust us. And the stat is about 7 hours. People need to consume about 7 hours worth of our content before they trust us enough to buy. With barbering, men walk in off the street and get haircuts anyway. Everyone generally gets a haircut. 80% of men on the planet get a haircut. You don't have to convince them as much. So if you have 1 to 2 hours, maybe, of like longer form content, and that's what we're kind of leaning into a lot. You know, this year we're going to spend about 100 grand on our content. You know, between all the cameras, the people that we've hired to do it, that's the investment that we're making in it, so it's important. But for barbers, you don't need to do it as much, like, because it's a different product and a different level of kind of like service. But if you can lean into the long form a little bit more, or you can bring through some more of your personal interests and you and your life into your content, you'll attract more people into your chair that are actually aligned. And those are the ones you can grow with. Those are the 50 favorite clients on that list that will pay you more money as you go along, and they won't ask questions.
That's another question. With like content and everything, is it worth getting all the equipment, the mics, the cameras, the stands?
You don't have to. We just bought all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we built a business that we did today, 3 businesses that have been quite successful with an iPad and a fucking 2015 Mac.
Yeah, cool.
You know, you don't need all the stuff. Just like you don't need all the clippers. Don't.
So I'll give what?
We agree.
But I'll give you a really
last
quick.
time.
Yeah. I'll give you a really quick system, really quick framework, right? Because people, what I would love for you guys to do is just go and action this immediately. Okay. So you brought up a great point of you don't have people walking past anymore. You're in a private studio, I'm assuming, so you don't get foot traffic. Okay. We could just rely on that, and that made us a little bit lazy over the years. Okay. Content, you don't have people walking past your Instagram page every day. So what does that mean? You have to be really consistent. Okay. If you can show up every day. Your social media is just a window into your business. You know, you've got windows on your barbershop, that's what your social media is. Hey, look into my world. If you can give people an opportunity to look into your world every single day, much better chance you increase your surface area for luck, and much more chance of people buying your stuff from you, okay? Next one is you need a framework for content, okay? First of all, you need to know who you're making content for. You're not making content for other barbers unless you're an educator, you're making it for the consumer on the street, all right? Number 2, you need to know what you want your content to do. What do I want my content to do? And then when you make the content, you can study content, like what's working. Study that, then when you want it to do, you just ask yourself, is it working? That's why I asked you, is it working? If it works, play your greatest hits, like all of your favorite music artists do. You'd be pissed off if you went to a Neck Deep show and they didn't play your favorite song, right? They nearly didn't, but they did, but they played. So, but like...
That was purposeful.
Yeah. But that's the point, right? It's like, play your greatest hits. If it works, it works. There's a reason some bands just play the same song and it keeps making loads and loads of money. If it works, it works. The big thing here, the psychology, is social media is a tool. It's not who you are, okay? Treat it like a tool. If the tool isn't working, we tweak it and adjust it, okay? If it is working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep going. Drill it, drive it home, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. That's the only difference between the people that make it and the ones that don't, is oftentimes consistency. We're posting twice a day at the moment. Consistency, and we know we can do even more, but that's the reason why our business operates the way it does. Now, you don't have to go and post twice a day, but you do need a system. You need to know who you're making it for, what you want it to do, and you need a feedback loop. You need a way to iterate that content. Once you know those 3 things, you make content forever. Because we've got a great thing, a little robot now called ChatGPT, who you just bang it in there and say, hey, here's the person I want to make it for, here's what I want it to do. Give me 5,000 ideas.
Start. Thank you.
Amazing.
Take him off! Take him off. Anyway, if you want the book, this is where you get the book. We have the kind of like minimal viable product. It will be a print book. There will be more visuals in it. Get this, put your email in, and we'll send you some more stuff. Thank you very much. We'll be around. But have a good, with the content thing, one more thing. With the content thing, have a really good chat with ChatGPT about what it is you want to do and who you are, and then ask it the exact same question. Yeah?